Today is the 9th of February and we're going through a pretty mild spell here in the south of England, and I suddenly realized that we only have like 2 months or perhaps even 6 weeks to do the rest of our potting. Potting is not the only job. The other job, especially with the deciduous trees, is pruning the tree. If you miss doing it now, it's not the end of the world, but this is a good time to do it because the deciduous trees haven't come into leaf yet. So look at all these beautiful twigs on these trees. There's a Korean hornbeam and we've got maples. But if you leave it too soon, the buds will start moving. If I can take you into our back greenhouse, if you follow me, I will show you. I noticed that there were some trees that are already breaking leaf. So it's only a couple of degrees higher in temperature, but the slight difference in temperature has brought all the leaves out already. Look at that closely. This is Korean hornbeam, and these are the flowers. In fact, they're all beginning to flower. This is last year's flowers and seeds. So all these long shoots, they are badly overgrown, and I will show you how we are going to prune them all. I know that I should put them on a potting bench, but because I've got so many hundreds and hundreds of trees, I find it easier just to prune them in situ. That means where they are standing on the bench, I will just prune it while they are there. So let me begin by showing you what I'm going to do. Now we hear a lot about ramification. Ramification is just a term to describe the fine twigs that you get on these trees. So like the oak trees that you see there, you see how twiggy it is. So in bonsai we want the same effect with lots of twigs. And the best way to get the twiggery is literally to keep pruning these long shoots. So that's very simple. No rocket science involved. Just prune them hard back. Look at that long shoot. So long, I can prune it back there. So just prune it back so that the shape of the pad looks right. Don't let any crossing branches develop. So all these long shoots, we're going to just trim in situ. I will try not to let these ingrowing branches develop because that is not good for the tree, but that sort of thing I can do later in the year. But my main task at the moment is just to go around every single tree and prune it back, not absolutely hard, but just the tips of the shoots so that they develop more twigs. So this is what we call pruning for ramification. And once you do it, that's not the end of story, because during the year it's going to grow some more, and every time it grows, if you keep pruning the ends, you will get more and more twigs and the tree will get very twiggy. That's a very new long shoot. I may keep it to develop that one into a branch, so I will keep that one. So I don't prune everything back hard just for the sake of, so that's going to be a structural branch I'm going to develop. I noticed that a lot of these Korean hornbeams have got these fat buds, and the fat buds are the buds that carry the flowers. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So that is one of them. Look at the nebari on this, the root base. These trees, I would mention, I imported from Japan in 2007. So they've been in this country 15 years. And during that time, I've been trying to grow new branches and develop more and more ramification. So although they are from Japan, because these are, I would say, 60 or more year old trees, 60 to 70 year old trees, and they've always been grown as bonsai. Initially they may have been grown in the ground to thicken, but a lot of the work has been done in bonsai pots, so they're not field grown for the rest of their bonsai life. So see all these long shoots, you can see against the sky what I'm doing. I'm pruning in a conical shape the long shoot. Look at that long shoot there. That shoot there, more than a foot long, has grown in the last year. So I don't need it. I cut it back there and prune this way. That's another long shoot. I may keep it to develop a main branch and then develop the twigs from it. So sometimes if you see a structural situation. We develop the structure, but we still aim to create more twigs. More twigs. All the time, more twigs. This is where the deciduous bonsai are such a time-consuming thing. And of course, on the demonstration circuit, if you're into deciduous trees, I've always said that, forget it. No one is interested in you because you cut everything hard back and you got to wait 1 or 2 years before the tree develops. Now let me go to the other side because I can't reach the front side. This is the back of the tree. See, I rather prune them on site here than take them into the greenhouse, because there'll be hundreds of trees to move around, so it's easier to do it in situ. And on a nice sunny day, it's been sunny all day, so I prefer to do it outside. I could do it in my sleep. I tell you that it hurts the fingers, you know, you keep pruning like this, you get blisters as well. So look at all that pruning. You could try and make hardwood cuttings, because some of these rare trees like Korean hornbeam, hardwood cuttings are possible with this species. So I might just try some, but you have to use very, very strong hormone rooting powder or hormone rooting liquid if you are to get results, because hardwood cuttings are not easy to grow. Softwood cuttings or semi-hard cuttings are easier, but hardwood cuttings very difficult. So that's that one done. Let me take you around another tree. If you walk that way, I will meet you up there. And let me show you what I'm doing to. I noticed there's a white beech, Fagus crenata, and it's badly overgrown. But look at it, it's almost like a broom style. Let me climb on the bench. And this is literally like doing hedging, isn't it? For want of a better word. You could just as well be pruning a hedge the way you do this one. In fact, I'm letting this go much too tall, so I should really reduce it quite severely. Lots of sweeping up to do. Look at the twiggery on this tree, such a lot of twigs. And this is developed simply by doing this each year. I probably do this maybe only twice a year, in the very early spring like February, and then I do it again at the end of June or early July when it's made its first flush of growth. So this is what you got to do with these deciduous trees. The maples, of course, exactly the same thing you do. Let me look at that trident maple there. That trident maple, again, it hasn't grown that much, but I still need to deal with all these long shoots that are coming out. I will probably walk around there to deal with that one. It's not a very difficult chore, but it's a chore that needs to be done. You see these long shoots there? It's about 3 inches long. Cut it back to just one bud. So this one hasn't grown that much, but I still need to deal with the long shoots that have grown. Otherwise I won't get the ramification. So that's a native beech. This is a typical maple situation. If you look closely, all these long shoots have grown in the last year. So what I do, I prune these back like so, develop the conical shape. but sometimes you have to deal with the structural situation as well. I'm going to show you on some of the other younger maples what I do, because it's a slightly different operation. So passing by, look at that. This is a field maple. You see these very long shoots, that's much too long. So this is what we would do with that. Anything long, we just trim back. Very important to take the tips out, because if you don't trim the tips, they keep getting extended longer and longer and longer. So you don't want that. You need to keep them dense and keep them producing short twigs. I will just mention something about maples, because at this time of the year, if you start pruning your maples, you will find that they will start bleeding quite a lot. And I will just show you some maples here. Virtually all these trees here are maples. Now, I did prune these twice last year. Many of these maples were pruned twice, and they have just been in this shade netting. They get all the frost in the world. They are not protected from the frost, but they do get protected from the severe overhead frost. And if you look closely, they have been outside all year, and already the buds are beginning to break. You can see in a couple of weeks' time they will be in leaf. And if you prune your maples now, you will find that they will start bleeding. Bleeding meaning not blood, but they will bleed sap. So if you make the cut, I'm going to make the cuts and I will show you after a day, the water pours out almost like a tap. But you mustn't panic, you mustn't panic. I will do some refinement to these maples, because a lot of them have too many branches, so they all have to be pruned to proper shape, structural pruning. So this is a job here. I have several hundreds of these, and they all have to be dealt with by structural pruning. See these long twigs like this? Look at that. That's at least 60 centimeter long, all in the last year. I've got to cut it back to like 2 or 3 centimeter. So that is pruning to develop the twiggery. But I also have to do some structural pruning. Look at this one. It's so congested there. We have to take some of those out. But that I'm going to leave for another video, where I will show you how to do structural pruning on these maples. But for now, what I'm doing is just pruning for ramification. Look at this one. This is completely gone berserk. Look at these long shoots. This is what you have to do. Just go around with scissors. I bet some of you would love to do this job. As I say, this is not a very difficult task, but it's a necessary task. So just go around, prune these. Look at that, look at that. 30 to 45, 60 centimeter long. All got to be pruned hard. Look at that one, really long. Many people are afraid of pruning because they don't know what to do, I guess. But if you don't prune it, what will happen is that you will get the shoots going so long that you will lose complete control. And if you don't prune the apex as well, these branches at the top could reach the sky. I like to use that expression, reach the sky, because that is precisely what will happen. So all these long twigs we are going to prune back. So even this is getting a bit long. I should use my secateurs, because these bonsai scissors may not be able to deal with these thick branches. Look at that, this beautiful pad being created, but I need to prune the ends to develop more twigs to stop it just getting too long. And at the top there, if I want to thicken the leader, I can let it go, but really this tree, okay, now this tree, the front is really here, because the back branches are there. I have to put it back to there. That could be a leader, but for some reason it's gone too tall. If I want to thicken the leader, I will let that grow, but If I don't want to develop the leader, then I will just cut it back like that, and then it develop more branches there. So this tree has got quite a long way yet to go. I think this is a twin trunk they showed you, but even trees like this, we are forever trying to refine the development of the tree. Much of the structure has been done, but ramification has to be developed. Now let me show you what I'm going to do with my scissors, because if you're pruning so much, I virtually use these scissors about 4 hours a day, and they do pick up a lot of sap, and especially if you're working with pines and other conifers, they have a very sticky sap, and that will make the tools really messy and sticky. So I'm not trying to sell you this brand of this product here. You can see what it is, but I love using it because it is very effective. If you spray the blade with this, and then you can either use emery paper. There are many things you can use. So you can use either sandpaper or emery paper to clean the muck off. See how mucky it gets? Even the handles pick up all this dirty sap. Or there's a special tool. This is a cleaning tool, which is a proprietary make. I won't mention the brand. If you spray the WD-40 and then use this tool, it's like a polishing tool. And it really gets it clean. You see how clean that's become? Just by using this. It restores it to new. I think I've mentioned these things in previous videos, but for those who are fairly new, it's very hard to access all the old videos. Let me just do this one. So remind you what to do, just spray the tool. Some people use cooking oil or olive oil to clean the tools, but I find that this lubricant like WD-40 is very effective because it's very light. It doesn't clog up the tools. And if you don't have that, even paraffin is okay. And then you can also use a wire brush to clean some of the muck off. As long as it cleans the muck off so it doesn't foul the blade. These, by the way, are our special Herons tools. So just a little plug, made specially for us by a very famous Chinese tool maker. And I don't know whether you can still buy this tool. This is the diamond sharpener. And this diamond sharpener can help you sharpen the blades. And I was shown how to sharpen the blades when I went to the first ever World Bonsai Convention in 1989 in Omiya. And one of the bonsai teachers there, bonsai master, showed us how to clean the tools with a sharpener. And apparently you only clean this blade, never clean the inside of the blade, just the outside of the blade by this action. I'm not a professional knife sharpener or tool sharpener, but this is how I was told that you should be doing it, like that, and that keeps it sharp. So if you open the blade, do this, and that will keep it sharp. So the main thing is to keep the blades clean so that it doesn't pick up all the muck and the sap from the branches, especially the evergreen sap. So there you go, how to look after your tools. So this was a very quick lesson on how to develop ramification, and this is the early spring pruning that you will have to do. I wish I could strap a camera on my chest, because I'm going to work for the next week or two just going through every single tree here and taking the tips off. So wish me luck, and there you go.